This is your path, live, with Bishop Mark, live from Dallas Universal Life Church in Dallas, Texas.
Well, good evening. Welcome to Your Path Live with Bishop Mark. I'm your host, Bishop Mark Zorn, coming to you live from Dallas Universal Life Church in Dallas, Texas, as we do every Wednesday night here at 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time. Welcome to the show. A special welcome tonight to our radio listeners from YPLwBM, 1630 AM from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and around the world at PastorSeanCondrenOffice.org/radio. Welcome to the show. We're so glad you're here with us. I hope you enjoy it. Stick around. It's going to be a fun one. Now, we are a calling show. That means this show's about you. That's why it's called Your Path. That's what it means, Your Path. So the show is about you. Well, how do we do that? Well, we got to go live with you to hear about you. So what do you just, there's a right at the top of your screen there, right there in the left-hand corner, there's a link. And that link is tinyurl.com/bishopmark00. Now, that's how you would go live with us. Even if you're on the radio, you can use that link if you have your computer or your smartphone, tinyurl.com/bishopmark00, and you can go live with us. Now, what are you going to talk about? Well, we talk about you. You talk about your faith, your life, your Christianity, God, love, your day, relationships, whatever it is you need to talk about. The nice thing about that is we can also pray about it, and that's what I'm here to do. I love to pray with people, and that's an honor for me to do so. So please, call in, hit that link, come in and talk to us. And it doesn't matter if you interrupt me. We're going to have a topic we're talking about. That's okay. This is about you. So you're the important person here. So when you're ready to call in, call in. It's an hour show, so we got time. All right? Now, I mentioned that we would have a topic today. I'm going to try and slow down on this. I have a habit of talking too fast, so I'm going to try and slow down a little bit because this is an important topic. This is something that is really near and dear to my heart, and it's just, you'll see. This is very important to me. So again, call in. There's the number, link, tinyurl.com/bishopmark00. Okay. All right. I'll be waiting to hear from you. All right. Here we go. I'm going to my Coca-Cola here before we get started, so I'm just right. Okay. Again, good evening and welcome. From Matthew chapter 25, verse 35 through 40. Okay. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. Hold on a second. Here we go. I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Okay. If I can get my teleprompter to work right, we'll be in good shape. There we go. Go the right way. There we go. If I don't have my teleprompter, folks, we end up someplace you really don't want to go. We'll be here 3-4 hours. We'll never finish it. So that's why we do this. All right. Okay. Today, we are going to talk about something called being a men and women for others. Men and women for others. That's the title of our talk today. And today, we reflect on a powerful call. It's a powerful call that speaks directly to the heart of our faith to be men and women for others. Now, this concept, articulated so profoundly by Jesuit Father Pedro Arrupe, challenges us to align our lives with the selfless love of Christ. It calls us to live not for ourselves, but for the good of our neighbors, especially for the marginalized and forgotten. Now, before we dive into this profound idea, let's take a moment to reflect on the life of the man who articulated this vision so clearly. Father Pedro Arrupe, born in the Basque region of Spain in 1907, Father Arrupe joined the Society of Jesus and became a Jesuit priest, dedicating his life to the service of others. His ministry took him across the globe, including to Japan, where he witnessed horrors of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and personally cared for its victims. This experience profoundly shaped his understanding of faith and service. In 1965, Arrupe became the Superior General of the Jesuits, a role he used to advocate for a faith deeply committed to justice and solidarity with the poor. It was during his leadership that he introduced the concept of being men for others, urging Christians to live lives of selflessness, compassion, and action. Arrupe's legacy continues to inspire countless people around the world to this day. His life was a living testament to what it means to embody the gospel fully, to see Christ in every person, and to serve them with love. On a personal note, I would like to share how Father Arrupe's vision has shaped my own life. I was fortunate enough to attend Jesuit College Preparatory School in Dallas as a proud member of the class of 1992. It was there that I first encountered the profound concept of being a man for others. The Jesuit community instilled in me a commitment to selflessness and service that has guided me ever since. The lessons I learned during those formative years have influenced every aspect of my life, reminding me that faith is not just about personal salvation, but about living in solidarity with others. So let's begin by taking a moment to reflect on this concept. What does it mean? What does it mean to truly live for others? How does this challenge our priorities, our comforts, and even our faith journey? To be men and women for others is not just a slogan, it is a radical reorientation of our lives toward the values of the gospel. This afternoon, I invite you to open your hearts to this message, to let it challenge you, and to let it inspire you to take concrete steps toward living as Christ has called us. Father Arrupe's vision of men for others, it's rooted in the gospel's commandment to love God and love our neighbors as ourselves. This is not a passive love, it's an active, transformative love that moves us beyond words into action. It asks us to see Christ in every person, the poor, the sick, the lonely, the refugee, and the outcast, and to serve them with the same compassion and dignity we would offer Christ himself. When Jesus says in Matthew 25, "Whatever you did for the one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." He is inviting us to a radical way of living. To be a person for others means to adopt this lens, seeing every human encounter as an opportunity to love and serve Christ. It is a lifestyle that transforms how we interact with our families, our co-workers, our communities, and even strangers we may never meet again. And just think for a moment about the people who have impacted your life. Perhaps it was a teacher, a mentor, a friend, or even a stranger who showed you unexpected kindness. Their actions, big or small, reflected the love of Christ. Now consider, how can you be that person for someone else? How can your life be a living testimony of God's love? Let's be honest. Living for others is countercultural in a world that often promotes self interest and individualism. Society encourages us to climb higher, accumulate more, and focus on our own well being. Yet the gospel flips this narrative. Jesus tells us that greatness is found in humility, strength is found in service, and life is found when we give ourselves away for others. Father Arrupe, Father Arrupe said, "To be just, it is not enough to refrain from injustice. One must go further and refuse to play its game, substituting love for self interest as the driving force of society." Now, are we willing to step into this challenge? Are we ready to put love and justice at the center of our decisions, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable? Think about the story of the Good Samaritan. Here was a man who put aside his own plans, his own safety, and his own resources to help someone in need. He didn't stop to calculate the cost or weigh the risks. He acted out of compassion. So, how often do we, in our busy lives, walk past opportunities to help because we are too focused on our own agendas? How often do we ignore the suffering around us because it feels too overwhelming or inconvenient? Living as living as men and women for others means breaking out of our comfort zones. It means being willing to make sacrifices, whether that's giving our time or our energy or our resources. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it because in serving others, we encounter Christ. Now, there's some practical ways to live for others. This is where it kind of comes to us now. How can we embody this calling in our daily lives? Well, let's explore some practical ways to make this a reality. Now, number one, cultivate a heart of compassion. What do I mean by that? Well, start by asking God to open your heart to the needs of others. Spend time in prayer, seeking to see the world through His eyes. Allow yourself to be moved by the suffering and struggles of those around you. Don't ignore them, see them. Compassion begins with awareness. Look beyond your immediate circle and ask, who needs my help? Who is God calling me to serve? Now, compassion also means being present. In our fast paced world, we often rush from one task to the next, barely noticing the people around us. So slow down. Take time to listen, to notice, and to care. Whether it's a coworker who seems stressed, a neighbor who is lonely, or a stranger in need, small moments of attention can make a big difference. Okay, number two, engage in works of justice and mercy. Look for concrete ways to serve. Volunteer at a food bank. Volunteer anywhere. Support a cause that fights for the rights of the oppressed. Be generous with your time, with your talents, and with your resources. Remember, remember too that small acts of kindness, small acts of kindness can have a profound impact. Acts of mercy are the starting point. But as people of faith, we are also called to seek justice. Justice means addressing the root causes of suffering. It means advocating for policies that protect the vulnerable. It means standing up against discrimination and working to create a more equitable society. And this might feel daunting, but remember, God does not call us to fix the whole world. He calls us to be faithful in the opportunities He places before us. Number 3, build relationships across boundaries. One of the most powerful ways to live for others is to build genuine relationships with people who are different from us. Whether it's across lines of race, class, culture, or religion, these relationships challenge our assumptions. They broaden our perspectives and deepen our compassion. They also reflect the inclusive love of Christ, who welcomed all his people into his ministry. So I ask you to consider how you can create opportunities for these connections. Join a community group, participate in service projects, or simply take the time to get to know your neighbors. We don't do that anymore, folks. Who are your neighbors? Relationships are the foundation of meaningful service, and they remind us that we are all part of God's family. Number 4, advocate for systematic change. Being for others means addressing not just individual needs, but also the systems and structures that perpetuate injustice. Educate yourself about social issues. Speak out against oppression and work to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. This might involve writing letters to policymakers. It might involve joining advocacy groups or supporting organizations that work for change. Again, your volunteer time makes the difference. But I know that advocacy can feel overwhelming. But remember that every step counts. Start small. Focus on an issue that resonates with you and take one action at a time, one foot before the other. Trust that God will multiply your efforts and that together we can make a difference. Number 5, prioritize servant leadership. Leadership is not about power or prestige. It's a mistake that so many people make. It is about serving others in your workplace, in your church, in your family, or your community. Strive to lead with humility and focus on lifting others up. Servant leadership reflects Christ's example, and it creates an environment and environments where everyone can thrive. To live as men and women for others, it is to embrace the fullness of the gospel. It means that our faith is not confined to Sunday morning or afternoons or personal piety, but extends into every aspect of our lives. It's about embodying Christ's love in a way that it transforms our families, our communities, and our world. When we serve others, we draw closer to Jesus. We begin to understand his heart his mission, and his sacrifice. And as we give ourselves away, we discover the truth of his promise. Whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. From Matthew 16, verse 25. This paradox of the gospel reminds us that true life is found not in clinging to our desires or comforts, but in surrendering them for the sake of love and service. In conclusion, for this part of our discussion, there'll be more. Now, as I reflect on my own journey, beginning at Jesuit College Preparatory School of Dallas, I do see how the seeds of this calling were planted in my heart. The Jesuit commitment to forming men for others shaped my understanding of what it means to live a life of purpose and faith. Now, although I proclaim to be a recovering Catholic, my spirituality and my Christian faith still stands strong. And I am forever grateful for the lessons learned there. And I pray that each of us can continue to carry this mission forward. So today, I'm going to challenge you with something. Take this concept that Father Arrupe gave us of being men and women for others, and apply it in a new way this week. Look for opportunities to serve someone in need, to step out of your comfort zone, and show Christ's love in a tangible way. Let this not be a fleeting inspiration, but a lasting transformation. We should remember the words of Father Pedro Arrupe. Nothing is more practical than finding God. Fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything. When we fall in love with God, his love will compel us to serve others, and that love will guide every decision we make. So I challenge you to go today with renewed hearts, ready to live the gospel fully and to embrace the call to be men and women for others. I hope that your life is a reflection of Christ's love. And I hope that we can bring his light into a world that desperately needs it. This concept of being men and women for others, I use it every day at my church here. I found that, and I'm going to get a little personal here with you because I want you to understand this is every part of my life. This is who I am, being a man and woman for others. It changed me in so many different ways. I found that by giving away my time, my money, my abilities, my talents, that I wasn't losing anything, but gaining an abundance more. There were times that people came to me and their electricity was getting cut off or whatever. They needed some help, pay a bill. And I would take the money and give it to them. It was my last dollar. And I didn't know how I was going to pay my bill in a week. But somehow God worked in strange ways, in mysterious ways, in radical ways. And that money would always come in. Usually somebody coming and knocking on the door I haven't seen in 5 years. And, this check I gave you that long 5 years ago, you still haven't cashed it. I'm trying to balance my checkbook, my bank, and could you cash this thing? And my bill is paid. I'm not saying that happens every time. I'm saying that, I have late bills sometimes. But I'm saying that I don't go without. God has provided for me. I will never go hungry. Even though my kitchen is open to people of my congregation and anybody who's hungry. Anybody that comes in here that's hungry, they're welcome to eat. I'll never run out because God won't let it happen. That seems crazy. Bishop, you're talking out of your head. It's amazing. It's amazing the way it happens. It's just, you don't even realize it. You just know that you start to look back at your life and these last few years of my life, especially, I don't do without. My cupboard stays at least somewhat full. It's not going to be always everything that I want to eat, but it's food. I don't go without shelter. I have friends who love me, who I love. And I have a wonderful church that I'm able to lead every week by being a man for others. When you walk into the campus at Jesuit, or at least what it used to be, they're completely remodeling the place now, but one of the first things you saw was a sign that said "Men for Others." Let me tell you, we are a selfish people. That's the way we're designed for some reason. We have to have self-preservation. I believe that. I do believe in self-preservation. I believe that if I don't take care of myself, I'm not going to be here for anybody else tomorrow. So that's where there's got to be limits here. But there's so many people out there that need us. And it's not necessarily your money. If you don't have, I don't have any money. I mean, I don't have to be honest with you. I'm broke. I put everything I have into my church and into my community here. But I also put my time and I give my abilities and I give of myself. God gave us all individual abilities and talents for a reason. If we all had the same talent, this would be a really boring place. But we need to rely on each other to have those different talents to help each other to stay strong. That's when your community comes together. That's when your congregation comes together. That's when you come together as a people, because you can't make it through this life on your own. You really can't, folks. You have to have the companionship, the fellowship of others. I've said it before. They did a study where they had premature babies that were put into incubators in the ICU, right? And they were finding that the mortality rate was very high, and that even the ones who didn't die had mental issues, serious mental issues growing up, and couldn't figure out what was going on there. So they did a study, and they found that these babies, if they were held with the touch of another human being, that mortality rate greatly reduced, and the rate of mental illness greatly reduced in those children. So now at many hospitals that have an ICU, they have volunteers that go in and hold the babies that are in the intensive care unit and just rock them and touch them and just give them some human touch. And if the babies are well enough, they'll take them out into the sunshine just for a little while and let their faces feel that sunshine. Amazing what we're doing there, because very simple human touch, the human being with others, caring for others, that compassionate touch changes people's lives. There you go. Didn't cost me anything, but that's being a man and woman for others. I get that we all have to work. I get that we all have busy lives. I get that we all have our country club dates and we have social lives and we have to go here and there and everywhere and take care of this and that and the other. Find time. I don't care what you have to cut out. If it's just 10 minutes of each one of those, find time to volunteer somewhere, to give of yourself. You play the piano, volunteer at a retirement home. Go play a happy hour up there. They do happy hour. It's kind of fun. Go volunteer to play piano. You're a public speaker? Go volunteer at your church to speak and read. Be an advocate for something you believe in. Every year, my church and I, we walk into Alzheimer's. It's something that hits home to a lot of people. Most people I know have had some sort of brush with that horrible disease. And I lost my grandmother to Alzheimer's. So we walk. 10 years I've been doing that. No matter what, rain or shine, we go. Getting there at 4:30, 5:30 in the morning, staying all day. We do that because you know, we don't want anybody else to have to go through what we went through. We want to change the world. You know, my grandmother's gone already. I can't help her, but in her memory, I can help others who come after her. This world, in a country that is so divided right now, in a country that is being pulled to the poles, we have to learn to come back into the middle and realize that we are all one people. I did a talk, I think it was last week or week before, here on Your Path Live, about a country divided. A country divided cannot stand, and this all falls into place, the same place here, folks. And, all of these things intertwine. A country divided cannot stand. Be a man and woman for others. Overlook the fact that they might be a Republican, or overlook the fact that they might be a Democrat, and help them if they need it. Look at them as human above all else. Look at them as your brother and sister above all else. Look at them as God's children above all else. And give of yourself. We really have to get back to basics here. We've lost sight. We've lost sight of what we're doing. The word Christianity is skewed. The definition has been warped. And it's time to bring it back to what it is. What are the basic definitions? Being a man and woman for others. Taking that love that God gave you so freely, that you took into your heart, and giving it away. That's what it's there for. If we could all love one another the way Jesus loved us, which was the commandment he gave us, love one another as I have loved you. If we could all do that, can you imagine the world of peace, harmony, love? Yeah, I know. You're thinking, oh, yeah, peace, harmony, love, harps, and da 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 da. So why not? It is possible. It is possible to defeat Satan and evil in this world. It is possible. Okay, let's go over this again. This is a call-in show. If you want to talk to us, we are available to talk to you. I'm right here. This is Bishop Mark right here on Your Path Live with Bishop Mark. I'm here every Wednesday. So all you got to do is go to tinyurl.com slash tinyurl.com/ Bishop Mark 00. That's going to be the link to go live with me. I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you. I want to hear, you want to talk to me about being a man and woman for others? Give me some examples. Tell me what you're doing. Or you want to negate what I'm saying? You want to challenge it? Please. I love a good debate. I love to talk to people. I love to hear new ideas. And I don't have a closed mind about things. If you have something that makes sense to me and you can show me how it works in the world and it's being a positive influence on this in this world and society and God's children, I'm all for it. I'm not stuck in my way. People say I am. People say I'm stuck in my ways, but I'm really not. I'm very open-minded. It's just my ways are, I've tried to make my ways as best I can after God's ways, after Jesus Christ and the way he lived on this earth, walking in those huge footsteps, taking one at a time and running across the footstep and climbing back up out of it, to the next one. Being a man or woman for others, a man or woman for others. It is the foundation of your Christianity. It is the bedrock. You've got God in Jesus Christ and the Holy Ghost here. And you have that being men and women for others. That's what they taught us. That's what they do. Open yourself up to see what's going on around you and don't just overlook it this time. I tell my congregation all the time to always be aware of your surroundings. And you should be. Always. Don't be complacent. You never know what's going to happen. You never know. There might not only that, not only for your own safety, but for the fact that you never know there might be an opportunity to minister to somebody. Yes, minister to somebody, to help others, to be a man or woman for others. Simple things like getting up and letting the elderly woman with a cane sit down on the bus, opening the door for the gentleman who has his hands full of packages, looking at somebody in the eye as they pass you in the crowded streets of downtown and saying, "Hey, how are you?" Acknowledging them as a human being. That's it. Folks, it's that simple. That's how you start. Being a man or woman for others it's not complicated. It can be difficult. All right. Again, the lines are open. Your path, tinyurl.com/bishopmark00. Now, being a man for others. Okay, I want to talk to you about something now. We're still talking about that same subject, being a man for others, but our church, my church here in Dallas, is called Dallas Universal Life Church, and it's been in existence for almost 9 years now. And I'm very, very proud of it. And recently, we got a write-up that I'd like to read to you about our church. I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of this church, and I encourage you, if you ever want to join and you're in Dallas, come by Sundays at 3 p.m., or you can always catch us on the Pastor Sean Conrad Office Television Network at just simply going to dallasulc.online.church at 3 p.m. on Sundays. It's 3 p.m. Central Time on Sundays. Please join us for church. We call it Exploring Your Faith Live with Bishop Mark, and that's what we're doing. We're exploring your faith. You'll find some similarities to maybe some of the more secular churches, but we do some things different too. We do some really fun stuff. We do some really interactive stuff. And I think that makes us different and makes us special. And the fact that we are all inclusive definitely makes us special in this world, which is sad to me. So I'm going to read you this write-up we've got. We've got about 20 minutes or so left. Again, thank you for all of you on the radio for joining us today. It's wonderful to have you here. I'm very lucky to be able to DJ sometimes on the radio with Pastor Sean Conrad Radio Network. And in fact, it looks like I'm going to be taking Friday afternoons and doing the official start to the weekend. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we got a Valentine's show coming up as well. So Valentine's Day is on a Friday. So we got some fun stuff coming up, folks. All right. So let me read this to you. Again, interrupt me if you want, if you wish. I'm here for you. Okay, here we go. Dallas Universal Life Church and Archbishop Mark Zorn. A journey of faith, acceptance, and advocacy. The Dallas Universal Life Church, DULC, stands as a beacon of inclusivity and spiritual guidance within the LGBTQ plus community. Founded by Archbishop Mark Zorn, the church has become a prominent establishment not only for spiritual growth, but also for social justice. It represents a safe space for individuals from diverse backgrounds to gather, to worship, and seek solace, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or past experiences. The establishment of DULC and its leadership under Archbishop Mark Zorn marks an important chapter in the history of modern Christian churches, where the values of love, equality, and acceptance take precedence over traditional dogma and exclusionary practices. A vision of unity and inclusion. Archbishop Mark Zorn, a devout spiritual leader and advocate for human rights, founded the Dallas Universal Life Church in the early 2000s with the intent of creating a community where people could come together to celebrate their faith without fear of judgment. In a religious landscape where many churches continue to grapple with the inclusion of LGBTQ plus individuals, DULC set out to challenge this norm and provide a home for those who had been marginalized by mainstream religious institutions. The name, Universal Life, reflects the core philosophy of the church, a belief in the interconnectedness of all people, regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs. The church is open to individuals from all walks of life, and its teachings emphasize love, respect, and compassion over rigid adherence to specific doctrines. This inclusive approach has attracted a diverse congregation with members from the LGBTQ plus community, as well as allies who share in the church's mission of acceptance and social justice. Archbishop Mark Zorn's role in the church. As the founder and Archbishop of DULC, Mark Zorn has played a crucial role in the church's success and its ability to foster an environment of tolerance and spiritual growth. Zorn, a self-identified member of the LGBTQ plus community, has used his position to bridge the gap between religion and sexuality, advocating for the rights of LGBTQ plus individuals within both religious and societal contexts. Zorn's leadership is rooted in his belief that all people, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity, deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Throughout his ministry, he has been a vocal advocate for the rights of LGBTQ plus people, fighting against discriminatory practices that have historically existed within religious institutions. His vision for the church was shaped by a desire to create a place where people could explore their faith without the fear of condemnation for being true to who they are. Under his guidance, the Dallas Universal Life Church has grown into a pillar of the Dallas community. It provides not only religious services, but also educational programs, outreach initiatives, and community building activities aimed at empowering marginalized individuals and supporting social justice causes. Archbishop Zorn's influence extends beyond the pulpit, as he has been an active voice in political and social advocacy, working to dismantle oppressive systems that seek to exclude or harm LGBTQ plus individuals. The church's impact on the community. Since its inception, DULC has provided more than just a place of worship. It has become a haven for those seeking a supportive and welcoming space to explore their spirituality. The church offers a variety of services and programs that address the unique needs of its congregation. For example, it provides counseling services for individuals who may have experienced religious trauma, particularly those from the LGBTQ plus backgrounds. These services are essential in helping individuals reclaim their sense of identity and spiritual well-being. Moreover, DULC has become a hub for activism and advocacy. Archbishop Zorn and his congregation are deeply involved in local and national movements that aim to protect the rights of LGBTQ plus individuals. They are particularly vocal on issues such as marriage equality, anti-discrimination laws, and healthcare access for the LGBTQ plus community. Their efforts reflect the broader mission of the church to create a world where love, compassion, and equality are the guiding principles of all human interactions. Through outreach programs, DULC works to support people in need, including offering food drives, support for people living with HIV and AIDS, and providing a platform for those who have been silenced by mainstream religious institutions. The church's emphasis on service to others aligns with its core spiritual beliefs, emphasizing that faith should manifest in tangible acts of kindness and advocacy for justice, being a men and women for others, in other words. Challenges and controversies. Despite the positive impact DULC has had on its community, the church and Archbishop Zorn have not been without controversy. Many traditional religious groups, particularly conservative Christian organizations, have criticized the church's inclusive stance on LGBTQ plus individuals and issues. In an era where discussions around LGBTQ plus rights are often polarized, DULC stands as a counterpoint to the prevailing narrative within many mainstream Christian denominations. This has led to some tension between the church and other religious groups that reject the inclusion of LGBTQ plus individuals in the fold of the church. However, Archbishop Zorn has remained steadfast in his commitment to his mission. He has consistently argued that the essence of Christianity lies not in exclusion, but in embracing all of God's creation. For Zorn, the act of loving one's neighbor transcends all barriers, and the teachings of Jesus Christ are rooted in unconditional love, not judgment. In conclusion, the Dallas Universal Life Church and Archbishop Mark Zorn embody a vision of faith that transcends traditional boundaries, advocating for a world where acceptance, love, and social justice are the cornerstones of spiritual practice. The church has played an instrumental role in creating a space for LGBTQ plus individuals to connect with their faith and find community without fear of rejection. Archbishop Zorn's unwavering leadership and commitment to human rights have inspired countless individuals to live authentically and pursue a life of love and equality. Through its advocacy, outreach, and inclusive theology, DULC continues to make a significant impact on the lives of many, proving that spirituality and inclusivity can coexist in harmony. What do you think about that? I'm pretty proud of that. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, it's a lot there, but that's it. And all of that comes from being men and women for others. All of that comes from loving each other. It's the hardest thing to do, to love somebody who's unlovable, because there's a lot of people in this world that are unlovable. But Jesus Christ didn't ask us to do it. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a commandment. You know what a commandment is, right? You do it. So why don't we do it? Why are there so many Christian churches out there that are excluding people? Why are there so many Christian churches out there that are saying, you can't come here? Jesus Christ didn't say that. He said, all of you, take, when he did the communion, when he gave it the Last Supper, take this, all of you, and eat of it. Not some of you, not the ones who went to confession yesterday, not the ones who didn't sin, all of you. Jesus Christ came for all of the world, not just Jerusalem and Israel. He came for all of us. And is still here for all of us. Yeah, you too. If we could get that through our heads and learn to love one another, learn to realize that we all bleed the same red blood. Yeah, we're different. We have different ideas. We have different notions. We have different ways of doing things. That's what life is about. If we were all the same, like I said, it'd be a real boring place. We are all created in God's image. How's that possible? We all look different. We all have different colors. We have different ideas. We have different ways of doing things. Well, yeah, so does God. When you look at the world today and look at all the faces in this world, you're seeing all the faces of God. All of them placed here in his image. What an amazing thing to see. Yet we see something we don't understand, we don't know about, is different to us, and we get defensive. We get, stay away from me. We have to, no, you can't do that. You can't do like that. You can't love that person. That's not like we do it. Folks, love is never wrong. True love is never wrong. And that's all that Christ asked us to do, is to love each other. These churches that close their doors to people because of a dress code. Some people can't afford the nice outfits to go to church that they require. They membership only events and services. Jesus Christ, he didn't hang out with the best dressed and the wealthiest in the world because they're not the ones who really needed him the most, although they do need him. He came to save us, the poor, the sinners, the lonely, the outcasts, the marginalized, the lepers. He came for us. He came for you. And all he wants us to do is love each other. It's so simple. It's so simple. If you're having trouble with that, I get it. It's simple, but it's, oh, boy, it can be tough. Pray on it. And I mean, pray. We talk about this also. Pray. It's not just getting on your knees and asking for this, that, and the other, and confessing some sins and asking for Aunt so and so to get a heart transplant. It's asking for all those things that you need and you want and you need to do and confess, and then shutting up and listening, because prayer is not a monologue, folks. Prayer is a conversation between you and God. And if you just say those things and get up and walk away, God's standing there going, "Oh, wait a minute, oh, okay, never mind." And you miss it. You asked him to help you and you walked away and didn't listen. Doesn't make any sense. You have to shut up and listen. You have to quiet your world for a moment and open yourself up to his word. Open yourself up to his presence and feel him. He's always there. Open yourself up and let God in. It's an amazing epiphany when that happens. I have congregants who have it happen, and I have congregants who don't, and they get frustrated when it doesn't happen. And all I can tell them is, look, keep practicing. Keep working on your meditation, finding that quiet place 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's all it takes, folks. Take 5 to 10 minutes a day, get in a quiet spot. I don't care where it is, get someplace quiet and clear your head and your mind and your body of everything that's going around you. Just open yourself up to God. Wow. You won't believe it when it happens. Oh, Bishop, you're being crazy. You're talking about supernatural things. You're right, I am. I am talking about supernatural things. I'm talking about Jesus. I'm talking about the power of God. The power of God is supernatural. And it's amazing. It makes me giddy. I get goosebumps when I talk about this, folks, because that's one of those things, those life-changing moments in my life when I was finally able to open myself up and let all that junk go that was in my head, all that noise, and let God speak to me. It changed my life. I was able to hear him. He was able to tell me what I've been asking him questions about all my life. He answered me. He doesn't always, but he does a lot of times. There's some things that I asked that I'm just not meant to know yet. But he makes that decision because he knows what's best for me and you. Got to keep an eye on the time here. I know we're on the radio today, so I want to make sure we don't go over. So, just to recap here: men and women for others. Do it. Love one another. Do it. Give of yourself. Do it. Personally, I get tired. I work a lot of hours, and for not complaining here, I work a lot of hours for little pay, if any. Most of my work here at the church is volunteer. And so I don't get monetary pay. I get a lot more pay in other ways. But you know what? I don't care if I'm tired. There's somebody out there who's more tired than I am. There's somebody out there who's less well than I am. There's somebody out there who's unhappy. There's somebody out there who's unloved. There's somebody out there who needs a human touch to keep them alive. And if I can provide that, then I'm going to do it, tired or not. Because if I don't, what does that say about me? God gave us some amazing abilities as human beings. Many I don't think we even tap into. But we do know how to love because He gave us that freely. So use it. Find that love within yourself and give it back to the world. Even when the dogs are going crazy in the other room and barking. All God's creatures here. We're all God's family. I'll just talk louder so you can't hear them. Live television, radio at its best, folks. I'm an animal lover. I can't help it. Chihuahuas like to bark. Okay. Got a few minutes left here. No callers today. You know what? That's okay. That's all right. This was a big thing to talk about, and I'm glad I got the time to talk about it. I love having the callers call in, but this was good. I hope you got something from this. I hope you did. If you have any questions, this will be on our website, DallasULC, on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DallasULC, or at DallasULC, youtube.com/at DallasULC. We'll have that on there probably tomorrow or the next day. You can rewatch it. You can always email me and ask me, Reverend Mark, REVMARK at DallasULC.com. Please feel free to use it. I try and answer all my emails. I try. I'm human. Now, just to remind you, every Wednesday at 5:30, 6:30 Eastern Time, Your Path Live with Bishop Mark is right here, where you're watching right now. On the radio right now, we're working on that. Maybe sometime in the future, but I'm glad I got to be with you today, folks. I really enjoyed that. Then on Sundays, we have at 3 p.m. our church service, Exploring Your Faith Live with Bishop Mark. That's at 3 p.m. Central Time. That'd be 4 p.m. Eastern Time at DallasULC.online.church. Of course, Your Path Live with Bishop Mark can always be found at YourPathLive.online.church. And then also coming up Fridays for you, we will have, I'll be DJing the official start to the weekend on Pastor Sean Condren Radio, Pastor Sean Condren Office Radio, YPLwBM, 1630 AM from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and around the world. God's Radio. God, I say a station dedicated to God. I'm going to get that down. A station dedicated to God. There it is. That's what it is. So I'll be DJing for that for a couple hours every Friday for the official bring of the weekend. And then on the 14th of February coming up, Valentine's Day, which is also on a Friday, we'll be doing a romantic evening with Bishop Mark. So hey, we got a lot coming up, folks. So all different ways to interact and be part of your community and grasp a hold of your Christianity and make it stronger. Lift yourself up so you can lift others up. All right, let's close it out in prayer before we get knocked off the air. Father in heaven, we thank you for the opportunity to come together all around the world today and praise you as we so rightfully should. What an amazing gift that is. What an amazing opportunity that is that so many people in this world do not get to do. Father, I ask you to watch over all of us and help us understand this concept of men and women for others. Help us to give of ourselves to others. Help us to love one another. Father, I ask all of this through Christ our Lord. All right, folks, thank you very much. I enjoyed it today. We'll see you next week. Have a great night. Good night.
Thank you for watching Your Path Live with Bishop Mark. Please join us next Wednesday at 6:30, 5:30 Eastern Time right here for another episode of Your Path Live with Bishop Mark. God bless you and have a great week.